and welcome to Baking with Kids video week 8. Today we're going to do cookies, which is one of the easiest and most delicious things to make in the kitchen. So with most cookie recipes, you're going to take the butter and cream it together with the sugar. You're going to add the eggs one at a time and then your dry ingredients. So today we're going to start with monster cookies, and we have 1 stick of softened butter already in the bowl. I am going to add a jar of peanut butter. That's right, you don't even have to measure it. We're just going to put the whole jar in there, and I'll let you guys start stirring it. So this is in place instead of some of the butter. That's why there's only 1 stick in this. Most like cookie recipes will have 2 sticks of butter. When I make chocolate chip cookies, sometimes I use butter, sometimes I use coconut oil. The most delicious cookies are when you use Crisco, because those Crisco has a higher melting point, and so the cookies hold their shape a lot better. So not quite as healthy for you, but the texture is really, really good when you use Crisco, just saying. Okay, so today we're using butter and peanut butter for our fats. And so you guys are gonna carefully stir this together. I forgot to set the butter out this morning so that it could be room temperature for this recipe, so I put it in the microwave for just a little bit, and probably just a little bit too long, so it's a little bit melted-ish instead of just softened butter, which would have been ideal. So you guys can mix the peanut butter with the butter. We're going to add to that 1.25 cups of brown sugar. So if one of you guys would like to measure 1 cup of brown sugar, when we measure that, you're going to make sure that you push it in, and measurements for brown sugar are always packed. So do you want to add that into the bowl? One of you, somebody? Plop. All right, and then we're also going to put in 1/4 cup. So if somebody wants to pack in 1/4 cup of brown sugar. And in case one kind of sugar wasn't enough, we are actually going to also add regular white granulated sugar. And so the main difference between brown sugar and white sugar is that brown sugar has some of the molasses added back into it. So you could actually substitute white sugar and an amount of molasses if you were out of brown sugar. So we're going to put in 1 cup. Maddie, I'm measuring 1 cup of regular sugar. And then we're going to put in 3 eggs. One of the things that I like about this recipe is it doesn't actually even use any flour at all. We are going to use oats for the structure. So there's 1.25 cups brown sugar. There's 1 cup of just regular granulated sugar. And now we're going to add 3 eggs once the sugar is creamed with the butter and peanut butter. So I'm going to move those out of the way. All right, so we want to make sure that's nice and mixed in first before we start adding the eggs. If you have like a KitchenAid mixer, just make sure that you put the paddle attachment on, and then always start by creaming together the butter, in this case also peanut butter, and the sugars. All right, so now you guys can each add an egg. Here's the trash can for you, and here are the 3 eggs. You guys can each do 1. All right, and then put it on in there whenever you're ready, trying to get the egg part, not the shell part. So that's our goal here. Got it? Nicely done. All right, there we go. And here is the trash can. If you want to wash your hands, you can. And put yours in there. That looks great. Nicely done. Boyd is done spinning his and mixing it up in the shell. That's not a thing. All right, put it in there, bud. Oh, all right. And that was the quickest egg by far. Go wash your hands. All right. And so now I'm gonna let them mix in the eggs. If I were doing this with the KitchenAid, I would maybe put 1 in at a time and let it mix in. But this is a very, very forgiving recipe. You can go ahead and start stirring, sweetie. So we're gonna put in the eggs. I'm gonna measure in some salt. Salt over here. 1 teaspoon of salt. And 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Now the difference between baking soda and baking powder is the acidity in it. baking soda will help things to spread, and baking powder will help things to rise. I've heard, I haven't actually researched it, but that's what I've been told. So I'm going to put in half a teaspoon of salt. Measure over the sink here. Okay. You got it, boy? Use your big muscles there. And then we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of baking soda, not baking powder, so we got baking soda. I know the jar is the same shape as a baking powder jar, but this one's baking soda, I promise. So there is 1. Sprinkle it over. And then we're going to put in 4.5 cups of oats. Maddie, you want to dump in all those chocolate chips? The bag, it looks a lot bigger than it is. There's only a couple. There's like 2 cups left in the bottom of it, but. All right. So you could also do half chocolate chips, half M&Ms. I think the original recipe had raisins in it, but we're not going to put any raisins in these cookies. And then we're going to put in 4.5 cups of oats. So you can use, these are just regular old-fashioned oats. I'll try and get it because I should have poured this into a different container first. Right. There we go. You guys want to put in 1 cup of oats? Help me keep track. That's 1. Okay. Hold on. Gotta wait till it's full. Okay, put in that one. 2. Okay. 3.
Wow, there's a lot of oats.
Okay. 4. And a half. All right. And that's all of our ingredients. So our next steps that we're going to do is, once it's all mixed together, I'm going to use a cookie scoop because it gives me cookies that are the same size and shape. You could totally just use a table, like just a regular spoon. We call them mommy spoons and daddy spoons. Like the little ones are the mommy spoons, the big ones are the daddy spoons. So you could just use a big daddy spoon if you wanted to scoop those out. And we're going to put 12 per sheet, and we are going to bake those at 350 degrees for about 10 to 12 minutes. And if you have a convection oven, you can do all 3 cookie sheets at one time. This actually makes 4 dozen, so I'm going to do 3 and then I'll do 1. But you can put in 3 at a time, only if you have it on the convection setting, because that moves the air all around and it cooks really well like that. Okay, so I'm just going to scoop 1 of these, and then we'll be back when they come out of the oven. So whenever you're scooping, you want to make sure that it's packed in, that it's kind of leveled off like that. And then that way all of your cookies will bake nicely because they're all the same size. And here are our finished cookies. You can see they're nice and chunky, good texture, nice and browned, and they will also be delicious. I wish you could smell them and taste them, but sorry, just try them at home.